Ready or not. Ready or not. Here I go. Can't hide. Gonna find.
Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lovett Namuko. So do you ever think that your brain has a mind of its own? You know, like you know you're not supposed to be anxious, you're taught in church not to be anxious, and maybe you are taught, you read self-help books and you know you're not supposed to be anxious or sad or feel all these negative fears and negative emotions, but somehow your brain just has a way it keeps you in this loop. You're not alone. It's actually difficult for us to change our thoughts. So as I authored this book called Life Euphoria, how your thoughts change your life, people have asked me, so how easy it is for us to change our thoughts. And I'm here to tell you, honestly, it's not easy, but it's doable. The brain is a creature of habits. Imagine how you're taking a route, a grassy route every day. You know, as you continue to take that route every day, your feet begins to create path there, a footpath there, and the grass is there, dies. So that's the same way. Whenever you are thinking the same thoughts, it creates like a pathway in your brain. So to change that pathway is like creating a new footpath in a grassy field. So that's actually what it is like. Another way to describe it is like, have you seen where wires are, convoluted together, matched together, and to start separating them one by one and straightening them, you know how hard it is. So that's similar to how your brain creates a pathway. So that pathway in your brain, it's created by the same kind of thoughts every day. And we think the same thoughts every day. Like our brain thinks different thoughts. It's comfortable in thinking the same thoughts every day, the same thought pattern. That's why it's called a pattern. So the easy way, and thoughts are what creates a habit. So that's why it's also hard to change a habit. So the easiest way is to connect a habit replace it with a different habit. So instead of trying not to think a certain way, just choose new things you want to think on. For example, for habits now, you feel like you are spending too much time on the screen, in front of a screen, and you want to change that habit. So you may have to tell yourself, whenever maybe you watch social media. So what you should do is that as you pick up your phone, if you can connect, the idea is to connect that whenever I pick up my phone, you have to tell yourself that over and over again. Whenever I pick up my phone and I want to go on Instagram or whichever social media you are addicted to, I should use the opportunity to quickly switch over to maybe watching something educational. I should go to YouTube and learn something new instead. So that's you replacing one habit with another. So, and then number 2. So the brain is trying to keep you safe and consistent. It's like a familiar pattern that it's used to and it can predict. So the unfortunate thing is that if you're already thinking negative, let's say you are thinking I'm not good enough, you are thinking life is hard, and that's how your thinking pattern is. Usually what happens actually is that the brain finds evidence, other similar thoughts, and connects it like evidence to hold on to and give you more reasons why that is true. So to change that is to find the new thought you want to think, also find the evidence of that new thought. And if you think well, you find the evidence. Well, there's always an evidence. For example, maybe you think that life is hard, but if you look well, there has been times where life was not necessarily hard for you. So let's say you have picked up a new way of thinking now that you have chosen. Now you are saying life is easy. Now, say it long enough, repeat it like I usually do, and I've said it on this channel. Sometimes I have to set an alarm to practice this. Okay, certain time in the day, sometimes 3 times a day. But because you know you are riding against the tide here, so you have to really do something maybe drastic. Sometimes, sometimes I play affirmations when I'm sleeping. because I want my subconscious mind to capture it so that it can reflect in my conscious mind. This new way of thinking now, let's say you have chosen now to say life is easy. If you say it long enough, and if you sit down to think about it long enough, you start finding times where life wasn't so hard. You didn't get something by struggle. Maybe the times where, you didn't, as simple as getting a good car park in a busy place, or things in your life that are not hard. So if you dwell on those things, that is you creating a new pathway. That's you creating a new way of thinking. Another way to do this is also to choose a new hobby, find something new, choose another route to your house or just do something new. Introduce to your brain a new pathway. So that way it stops to cling to the one that it feels is safe, because anything that is consistent in the brain wants to hang on to it because that's safe for the brain. The brain interprets it as safe, so it wants to keep you there. But if you begin to consciously try out new things, try out new ways of thinking, practice this thinking deeply to find a new evidence to what you know that you want to believe is true now. So that's number 2. Then number 3, emotions. Emotions don't help. Every thought have an emotion mapped to it. Every thought is wrapped around an emotion. For example, nothing happens to you, no thought comes without an emotion. There's no thought living in your brain that is not associated with an emotion. They're all together. So now that makes it harder, because it's not just your thoughts you are dealing with, you're also dealing with the chemicals that are secreted with those thoughts, which is what the emotions are. If you look at the emotions as simply chemicals, maybe it would be one breakthrough to unraveling it. So there are chemicals that create serotonin is good feeling chemicals. There is dopamine. They all have emotions attached. So they all produce different feelings in our bodies. Thoughts are wrapped around emotion. There are no thoughts in your brain that are attached without emotion. In fact, the more emotion, the more heavy the emotions are, the more weighty the thoughts are, the more you are locked into those thoughts and patterns. So if you know that thoughts are connected to emotions, perhaps you should start training your brain to feel good. Now, anxiety comes with certain kind of emotion. There's a simple exercise that we do when we are anxious. They tell you to breathe deep, take deep breaths to remove, because everything closes up in your heart and your chest when you are anxious. So you lose breath. Your breaths are short when you are anxious, right? So when you start breathing deeply, you expand your heart and all that, and there's more blood flow. That's like first aid of anxiety. So you can start from that, So even when you are thinking sad thoughts, very deep breaths also help you remove you from that state. That's like the first quick thing to do. But doesn't stop there, because it might just come back. So the next thing you start to do is play music. Find something fun to do. Find someone, remove yourself. Like you're going through anxiety, you're going through some things that are stressing you, you're going through some fear or some bad thoughts or whatever. So you have to find something else to distract you from those thoughts. Find things that will take you to a lighter emotion. When you have lighter emotion, then it starts to the grip of those thoughts will start to unravel, lose itself. So that's just like first aid, the first things to do, and then gradually you start to find that whenever you think of maybe an experience that used to bring a lot of pain, it doesn't have that much grip on the pain, the feeling doesn't have much grip, and somehow it's easier for you to change that thought. So if you have not gotten the book, Life Euphoria, How Your Thoughts Create Your Life, because there's a lot of scientific digging deep into that in that book that will also help you. I'll put the link in this video so that you can get that book and to help you more. In summary, you are not you're not bad if you are going through, if you are struggling to remove a thought from your mind. Maybe you've had a heartbreak or whatever, and it's going over and over again. There are things you can start with. Of course, there are much more. If you have more of those things, you can put. Then, of course, this is not exhaustive, but this is a start to help you. Number one, know that you're not alone. That to change your thoughts. Because if you change your thoughts, you change your life, right? And as a man thinks, so he is. So if you know that to change your, if you know that you're not alone in the struggle to change your thoughts, it most likely might encourage you not to give up in your self-help journey and in your changing your life journey. So if you like this kind of content, like and subscribe to this channel. Bye.